All right, let's dive into a powerful story of survival. We're pulling from Chapter 3 of the Uprooted Chinar to really get a handle on a critical moment in Kashmir's history. We're going to look at how this incredible valley, which was for so long a protected sanctuary, started to face the very first major threats to its ancient Hindu civilization. You have to picture it. For thousands of years, the Kashmir Valley was this sanctuary, cradled by the Himalayas. But being a mountain fortress doesn't mean you're immune. Not at all. In fact, that beautiful, idyllic setting was tested again and again by powerful forces from the outside. And that's what forged this incredible history of both remarkable resilience and, well, profound tragedy.
So, when we talk about Kashmir's trials, the story actually starts way before the events most people are familiar with. We're going to go back and look at those first waves of foreign invaders, the ones who first managed to breach the valley's defenses. Each one left a pretty distinct mark, as you'll see.
Okay, so what's really fascinating here is the escalation. You can see it right on the timeline. At first, you have these indirect contacts, right? Like with Alexander the Great's campaign. Then, you get Central Asian tribes like the Scythians and Kushans. They actually established rule for a while, but they kind of blended in, absorbed the local culture. But then, the game completely changed with the White Huns. Their leader, this guy Mihira Kula, he was known for just sheer brutality. He unleashed a reign of terror that really showed just how vulnerable the valley was. It sowed some serious fear. And this is a really crucial point. We have to understand the difference in motive here. Those early invaders, as destructive as they were mostly in it for plunder and territory. But the later Islamic invasions, a whole different ballgame. They were driven by religious zeal, by iconoclasm, which is just a word for the deliberate destruction of religious icons and symbols. Their goal was explicit, to erase the culture that was already there. And honestly, this shift is the key to understanding everything that happens next in Kashmir's history.
So you've got this escalating chaos. The question is, how did the indigenous Kashmiri Pandit community respond to all this? Well, it wasn't with armies or weapons. It was with something quieter, something clever. It was a strategy focused on one single thing: cultural survival. And look at how they did it. This wasn't just them sitting back and taking it. No, this was active, quiet defiance. Their sacred texts, the very soul of their civilization, they were hidden, stashed away in remote caves, buried under their own homes. And if the books themselves couldn't be saved, they memorized them. The elders passed down thousands and thousands of Sanskrit verses, an unbroken oral chain of knowledge. And those hilltop temples? They became more than just places of worship. They became sanctuaries, fortresses for both faith and family.
This quote it brings it all home, doesn't it? It completely humanizes the struggle. Just try to picture that. A father whispering these deep, non-dualistic teachings to his kids, telling them that even the invaders are just a part of Shiva's cosmic drama, all while their most precious texts are literally buried beneath the floorboards. It's this incredible mix of spiritual calm and hardcore practical caution. It shows a community that's not just surviving, but actively finding meaning in the middle of devastation, making sure their heritage outlives them.
And it's amazing? After weathering all of those storms, the indigenous Hindu order didn't just crawl out of the rubble. It thrived. It came roaring back. The community reasserted itself with this incredible energy, kicking off a golden age of sovereignty and just breathtaking cultural achievement. And the absolute peak of this revival came under a king named Lalitaditya Muktapida. This guy wasn't just a conqueror, he was a builder on a massive scale, and the ultimate symbol of this whole era, the one the book really highlights, is the magnificent Martan Sun Temple. It was an architectural masterpiece, a clear statement of triumphant, confident Hindu sovereignty, a beacon of cultural revival. But, of course, this golden age couldn't last forever. The story takes a really dark turn. A new wave of invasions arrived. And remember what we said earlier? This wave had a completely different and way more dangerous motive. These guys weren't just here for gold. They were idol breakers.
Yeah, this timeline, it shows the shift with brutal clarity. It starts in 1320 with a warlord named Zulju. His raid is really the beginning of systematic religious targeting. But the persecution hits its absolute peak under Sultan Sikander. His nickname was Butch Khan, which literally means the idol breaker. That tells you everything you need to know, right? His goal was nothing less than the complete erasure of Hinduism from the valley.
And here's the tragic echo. Remember that magnificent Martan Sun Temple? The symbol of revival and triumph? Well, now it becomes a symbol of destruction. The source describes how it was deliberately, systematically demolished. The ruins that stand today, they're a permanent scar in the landscape, a testament to the fury of this new era.
So for the pundit community, the choice was, well, it wasn't a choice. This quote from the book just lays it bare. Convert, be ruined, flee, or die. That's it. No good options. And faced with that, what could they do? Many chose Exodus, a secret flight from the only home they'd ever known just to preserve their faith and their lives.
The impact of this was catastrophic. I mean, the chronicles cited in the text say that the persecution was so intense that in some regions, the entire indigenous Hindu pundit population was reduced to just 11 families. Let that sink in for a second. After all those centuries of civilization, just 11.
So what's the long-term takeaway from this incredibly intense period of persecution? Well, it set a pattern, a tragic cycle of displacement and endurance that would come to define the Kashmiri Pandit experience for centuries.
You see, what started as sporadic flights from danger evolved into organized mass exoduses. Survival now came down entirely to that inner spiritual strength and those secret methods of hiding and memorizing their culture that we talked about. This cycle of peril and perseverance, it forged a resilience that is just legendary. But it also set a very dark precedent for the tragedies that were still to come.
And that really brings us to the central question hanging over this entire history, doesn't it? It's a question that's still so relevant today. When you're faced with a systematic effort to destroy your heritage, your symbols, your very existence in your own homeland, how does a culture survive its own erasure? The story of the Kashmiri Pandits gives us one profound and often very painful answer to that question.